Ich weiß mehr als euer Psychologe.
Good morning. We are just starting our day. It is, what is it, 12:30 in the afternoon here, which is...
In the morning, tasteless.
In the morning, which is like 5 a.m. nerd time.
Yeah.
So we woke up nice and early. Welcome to the bunker.
Yeah,
feel free to talk to us in the chat.
Yeah, guys, spread the word that both GSL is on earlier now and the bunker is on, obviously, before. We're always doing this a half hour before Code S starts. And for the whole year, what we're doing is Wednesdays will be European Friendly Time, which is our normal start time of 6:30 p.m. KST.
Right.
And we'll have a 1 p.m. KST start time on our Saturdays, which would be Friday night in America. So it's kind of like splitting it up.
We're getting the European time zone for those guys because they've always had it. Those Europeans have had it pretty good
They
for
have
a while.
Pretty good.
They've had it pretty good. But because we have the studio free at this time during the day, what we're going to do is then do one GSL day like this because now the Americans can finally not have to set an alarm for 4 a.m.
The Europeans may still have you beat on healthcare, but at least on Friday nights you can watch GSL at a reasonable time.
And feel free to ask us some questions. Actually, hold on a second. Let me see this mouse. So there's a screen right below, right there that you guys can't see.
Yeah.
Someone's asking. Oh, so it was, I'm sorry. I thought it was a question. The graphic was saying everyone like boba milk tea. Boba milk tea is good.
Someone. I'm not like a super fan of it, to be honest, but
it's not bad.
It's not bad. Like the tapioca bubbles are pretty cool. Someone asked, "What do I think of today's balance update?" What are you talking about? I'm like looking. Oh, they just put it out 4 hours ago. I didn't see it this morning. So hold on. We're gonna
talk about this right now.
So community feedback update: Hydrolist maps and balance state. Oh, this is fun.
While he's looking that up, feel free to keep sending us questions, guys.
And it is a post by Davey, of course. Wonderful balancer, by the way. I know that he's like meme-ish in a way, like everyone just kind of
a little bit.
Him. But he is
that's
fantastic.
Almost like a meme that's gone too far to the point where it's not actually that funny anymore.
Yeah,
this is like a problem in some esports where people keep memeing and then eventually the meme. Like even Artosis pylon, which was like funny when it first happened. I'm like, we got to get some new memes, you know.
Yeah, well, don't worry, Nathanius is on it.
Somebody's asking about the player Nightmare. Does he have a chance to get through? I think it'll be tough.
Yeah, it's
normally what I would chalk that up to is that he's in front of a big live audience, but it's pretty tame here. I mean, this is Saturday morning.
Yeah,
here.
That's true. This would be like a good group for him to have on a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. So normally the studio fills way up, but with it being we're starting on 1 p.m. on Saturday, most people are sitting around in their jammies, watching stuff from home, so it's pretty tame in here. So I would say maybe the environment would not be that intimidating.
And and if you're not too intimidated by it as well, there's actually this kind of interesting thing where if you're not a top of the world player, a lot of times you flow with the meta a lot more fluidly. Like you'll actually find newer meta stuff a little bit lower than the very top of the ladder because at the very top you get players like Stats and Innovation and players like this. They'll just win with whatever strategy, so they don't really have to do as much. I've actually watched quite a bit of Nightmare's stream, and this guy is using a lot fresher meta stuff than a lot of the other top Protosses. So that's kind of an interesting thing that he brings into it as well.
And, it's really good to have a new face.
Yeah, of course.
And to have somebody down here enter in and really be like the dark horse. We don't know. We don't have like really high expectations. I mean, really, if you get into GSL Codes, you kind of already won at life on this certain level. It's okay if you didn't advance, but
very true.
If he gets further, then that's a really cool narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really liked what you just said there, calling him the dark horse. Nightmare, dark horse.
Riding on his dark horse.
Oh, my God, because a nightmare would be a dark horse.
Yes, that's true.
Oh,
yes.
Crazy, Tasteless. You're so good. Okay.
Did you get that pulled up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. So let me read a little bit about this. Apparently 4 hours ago, there was a possible balance update that will be coming, I guess. So,
coffee. Sorry.
First off, Hydrolus. It looks like it would be good to do a small buff to Hydrolus and a health buff. Seems like the first step. We should try. Plus 10 health. Discussing that.
Sorry.
And if they should do a base Hydra health buff or an upgrade that buffs the health. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that type of idea because if they got back the old range Oh, my God. That was crazy. All right, tournaments and balance. We definitely see concerns such as early and mid-game in PvT right now. And obviously they want to give enough time to adjust to playing against new strategies versus stepping in to make balance changes, of course. That's the right way to do it. Map pool. Many discussions around how we picked the maps for GSL. Yeah, okay, so people are just
show is like slowly devolved into watching Artosis read his iPhone. But.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is like a filibuster thing. I just, for 25 minutes, read a phone book up here.
This is the filibuster of the pre-show.
I just read the phone numbers of everyone in my contact book, and people are like, why would you do that? That's really weird. We don't need your mother-in-law's phone number. But anyways, it looks like people were saying that Blizzard chose the GSL maps. No one tells Mr. Che to do anything.
Mr. Che wears a daddy pants around here, guys.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking about, will I ever shave my beard? I don't know. Maybe.
It looks like
I kind of just do it whenever.
Looks like I have a list of the actual maps, maybe for the next season. Apotheosis is going to come back, which is kind of weird.
New Gettysburg.
Yeah, New Gettysburg. That was always fun, and we can get the bridge memes going again.
We got
that's
the
always
bridge
good.
memes. Those were good.
Galactic Process. That's another one that was in the last season, so kind of an interesting one. Abyssal Reef. I think I saw a picture of that one. Palladino Terminal. Have a cappuccino in Palladino. Proxima Station and Honor Grounds LE. Okay, so several new ones.
And as this keeps going, eventually Artosis keeps scrolling down into the comments section of the Battle.net.
And some guy's like, here is the problem with what is wrong with Protoss. It was just not designed right. Shut up.
Does anyone else think siege tanks in siege mode should hit air? It's like, no!
Of course not. But, okay, so the only thing that it looks like they're talking about balance-wise is maybe giving a slight health buff to Hydras, which I think is fine because since they got buffed and were way too powerful and they got nerfed and now we don't really see them anymore.
We got to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, seems fine.
By the way, guys, we could still read this. Who's your favorite memer and why is it a thing? He is good with memes. He is on the cutting edge of memes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big part of his life.
It's a big part of who he is.
Yeah.
If he passed away, we definitely in the eulogy talk about how we'll never forget his memes. He loved to laugh. He loved to meme.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Too much of that direct memes to the brain, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
it's not good for you. Let's see here. Why like a Brewer isn't in SC2? And SC2 has versus Brooder. That's a good question. So essentially, this question is asking, what do you like about Brooder versus SC and or SC2 and SC2 versus Brooder? I mean, Brood War is really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways inaccessible. You know, it's really hard for someone new to pick it up, as well as it's like basically impossible to get games on it now unless you're like download all this. Like, you know, you got to get like the anti-hack and the fish server. With StarCraft 2, it's all just there. StarCraft 2 is accessible, and you're able to focus on the strategy more. There's definitely a ton of strategy in Brood War, but there's also this mechanical thing you have to come over. So, I mean, they're really different games, but they're both good.
Yeah.
They're the two best RTS games.
Oh, yes, very easily. And, I mean, there are actually quite a few very nice RTS games. Even if those two didn't exist, I'd probably, be working at a store somewhere in New Hampshire and playing RTS games in my free time. But
I could see you being like the guy who's 40, who's still trying to make that computer cafe in New Hampshire work.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've known a lot of those guys, actually. They occasionally
Magic the Gathering tournaments in the back,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was my favorite place in the year 2000. Some guys started that up. It was awesome. But, yeah, going back to that question, something that I always say when asked about that is, like, StarCraft 1 is a mechanics game with strategy. StarCraft 2 is a strategy game with mechanics. The mechanics
that's a very good way to put it.
So overwhelming in StarCraft 1. So, like, a huge percentage of your practice and the game itself will be dependent upon how strong you keep your mechanics all game. Whereas in StarCraft 2, it's a lot easier to keep up with everything in that case. But, I mean, because of that, the game is a lot faster in a lot of other ways, and the units actually kind of move faster. There's more mobility in the game, and it's, like, very, very strategical, a lot of the choices.
Yeah.
Like, there's more hard counters is one other thing I want to put down because like in StarCraft 1, you can kind of fight anything with anything.
In any fight in StarCraft 1, because the controls are clunkier and basically the person with less of an army, like less of a big army, has less to micromanage. A lot of times you have more comeback possibilities. Then that's really cool. But at the same time, like if you're properly ahead in StarCraft 2 and you did all the right moves, you probably can close out the game.
Yeah,
usually in a big fight.
Yeah, it's normally a little bit easier when you get ahead in StarCraft 2 to close it out.
Yeah.
StarCraft 1, it's incredibly hard to actually kill someone. But actually, since Legacy of the Void came out, it's a little bit harder to kill people in StarCraft 2 nowadays. There's
I think the games are a lot less definitive, which is good because I think occasionally in StarCraft 2 it got to the point where it's like we knew the outcome.
Yeah,
you know?
Very much so.
But I think a lot of the new units they introduced in Legacy helped out with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are the people saying
Good
down
stuff.
here?
Good stuff.
Second, I got to scroll up on here.
BCs are so broken in PvT at the moment. I actually have some things to say about this. I don't think that that's actually the case. We'll see, because I do know that some top Korean Terrans like TY have been practicing the battlecruiser style a little bit. But if battlecruisers end up crushing face, then I think that they'll probably need to be nerfed, because they're like a super late game tech, so mobility should be able to outdo them. And yeah, we haven't seen like any of it yet in Terran vs. Protoss. We'll see if we see any in the Codas. That's like a big tell. You know, if it starts popping up in Codas, then maybe it's really super viable. But
well, when anything pops up in Codas, that's when everything changes everywhere on the ladder. Everybody starts reacting to that. But yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have to wait and see. Someone's asking, when we cast Brood War, do we miss having the production tab and all that jazz? Same but opposite question for StarCraft 2. So this is actually something I've seen a lot of people talk about online.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there are pros and cons to both.
Mm-hmm.
So in Brood War, you have a degree of suspense. Now, we're obviously very familiar with Brood War, but even the ambiguity for us can make that more exciting in some ways. Now, I guess it's like different schools of thought, right? Like if you were watching a soccer game, right, and you could see actually physically the energy bars of the soccer players, like where their stamina is at, that's really interesting. But then there's the counterpoint, which is like it's a little bit less suspenseful. So it really depends on what you want. I mean, when you do a StarCraft 2 cast, assuming that the tabs are up, and also GSL's experimented with occasionally trying to show different tabs so that there is more ambiguity in that. A lot of people don't know that in an attempt to try to experiment with suspense. You definitely, when you have all the tabs open, you can see everything happening, and that's, I think, helpful for learning. You can count exactly how many roaches this person makes here, exactly how many drones they do, what's the moment they switch from, lings and roaches to drones, for instance. That's good, but I guess they're both fine, but you end up with different things. One generates more suspense and less education. The other more education, less suspense.
That's quite a good way to put it, yeah. And I mean, I grew up with the lack of production tab and stuff, so as a player, it was really hard to learn in StarCraft 1.
Yeah, watching.
So the education thing is a huge aspect. The amount via many things, like just the overall coverage in English of StarCraft 2, as well as production tabs, all these great tools that we've had to look at things, a bigger foreigner pro scene and stuff like that. The amount that we have learned so quickly in these about 7 years almost now of StarCraft 2 compared to all the previous time in StarCraft 1, it's immense.
It's funny because, like, my brother and me, we would get into the game of a good player, right? This is before there were VODs, okay? But we get in to be able to spec a game. One of us would have a pen and paper. The other one would be controlling the mouse. We'd be trying to write down the build, right? Yeah. Eventually, Korea put StarCraft on TV, but then you're still watching and just trying to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, because they'd go to the crowd. They wouldn't show certain things. You'd have to stare at the minimap and rewind and be like, okay, that building, I can see it on the minimap going up. I know what that is. From 2 minutes from now, when they show the base, that's,
and you'd have a lot of subtle stuff where somebody does an upgrade canceled. You don't figure that out until, like, the third time you rewatch the VOD. But at the same time, for spectator purposes in Brood War, I think the degree of ambiguity, the lack of just raw numbers in front of you that made it, I think, a little bit more exciting in some cases.
Yeah. Well,
so, I mean,
the suspense, as you said, this is this is a real thing in storytelling, which casting is kind of storytelling, where by building that suspense, you can have these great moments. Like, there's never going to be a moment in StarCraft 2, unless we completely change the way that we watch this, that suddenly you pop over here and oh my God, it's 4 carriers. It's
Right.
just not going to happen because we know everything that is happening as it's happening.
The moment the Stargate comes down, we go, oh,
Yeah.
Stargate.
And there's still excitement in that. Suspense and excitement are a little bit different here. You actually recommended me a great podcast by
Freakonomics.
Yeah.
I think it's the economics of suspense. Is
Something
literally
like that,
what it's
yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Somebody,
It's
could
because
somebody Google that for us right now and then tweet that at me because that
it's really it really does a great job
of
explaining this idea.
And it does this with sport as well.
Yeah, it's like something like soccer is very suspenseful because they don't score any goals, and it's like, will they be able to do it this time? They're working it down the field type of thing, or something like that.
Well, I think what
Listened to it a long
the
time ago.
conclusion they came to was like the most ideal sport for the sake of suspense would be one that could end at any point in time versus like you need to get X amount of points.
So what you're saying is that Harry Potter sport, was it Quidditch or whatever?
Quidditch would be the greatest game ever. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's a good explanation. I think there's a lot to it, but
And we're not really advocating with that question,
one
which
isn't
we
better
really
than the
which we
other.
really unpacked a lot of. We're not really advocating one or the other. We're just giving our input on it. So
yeah.
yeah.
So okay, let's look at some more. That's right.
JYP, you want to come over here? You want to come on the show, man?
Hey JYP, you know this guy beat Creator.
Yeah,
He knocked
beat
Creator out, so Creator couldn't play in
the
the GSL.
greatest commentator the world has ever seen. That's JYP, our Korean commentator.
Artosis, will you ever share your story of becoming a procaster like In Control, Pig, and Day 9? I don't know. Maybe one day.
One day.
Maybe after my 100th
It's
daily.
it's a huge secret.
Yeah.
No, you kind of just organically ended up kind of getting into casting, you know?
It was my in to Korea.
Yeah.
So I had to get here.
Yeah.
You couldn't live off of just StarCraft unless you were here. So, anyways, it's another time. Do you have a favorite player in StarCraft 2? Is there like one guy that when he's playing that day, you're like...
Probably it was SOS generally over the last few years.
Yeah, that is your type of guy.
I always enjoy what Stratsy's going to do, and I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick one, probably him. Protoss.
Yeah,
So, it's more interesting to me.
It's a really good choice. Like, anytime he's playing,
What
I'm
about
very
you?
excited.
You got one?
Well, generally, like it matters which Protoss I'm really into at the moment. It's normally Protoss players, but there's
Rain?
a couple. Yeah, like Rain was the guy.
Okay.
But like, I mean, there's been a lot of Zergs over time. Like, I love watching Dark. I love watching Sue. Yeah, I love watching Gumiho actually, who's playing today. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to cast.
I love his.
As far as
style.
rooting for a player, I don't feel like I'm ever really rooting for anybody. I don't.
I want the player who plays better in the series to win, and that's
for me.
generally what
When I
happens.
look at it, I look at it more like it's just like a lab, like an experiment. Like we're going to put these chemicals together and see how they react. So, hope that answers that question for you.
Someone asked, "Did you ever play classics like Roller Coaster Tycoon?" Actually,
I never played Roller Coaster Tycoon. I played some of the games that were like similar to that.
Yes,
like the theme
me too.
park and theme hospital
yeah.
games. I don't know if you played that.
My brother used to play those a lot. I liked Railroad Tycoon and Railroad Tycoon Deluxe, where like literally I burnt out so many monitors playing those as a child because we had like old crappy PCs.
Did you leave
and they
them
would
on?
overheat. Well, we just play for like 8 hours, and it'd go and smoke would come out the back.
Everything was plugged into like one surge protector that was plugged into another surge protector.
Something like that.
I've seen that.
But I mean, this was such in the old days where these monitors were sucky. But my mom worked at actually like a company that had a bunch of old PC parts. So when we burnt one out, it would normally take her about a week, and they'd be getting rid of an older monitor, and she'd bring that home to us. So
that's funny.
But that was one of my absolute favorite games. I stole it. I stole Railroad Tycoon, and to stop people from doing it back then.
You stole it from us. What do you mean you stole it?
Like, just copied on a disc.
Oh, okay. I think you were like running out of Walmart and stuff. People are chasing you. I'm like, damn, Artosis is hardcore.
To prevent people from doing that, though, they would have a question at the beginning that you had to answer correctly from the manual, which I didn't have, but I memorized every train and all the facts about the train so I could answer the question.
Damn,
but I
didn't
loved
know
that game. That was such a great game.
Yeah, that was one that I missed, but I played a couple of. Did you ever play that game like Syndicate or any of those weird games? That was fun. I don't know. Those were kind of the same time period and stuff. What else do we have in here?
Do you have a secret handshake? We do, but if we showed you, it wouldn't be secret.
It wouldn't be a secret. We'll die with that handshake. Second. I think we might have missed some stuff while we were talking here.
Yeah, quite a bit.
think like most of these are just asking us to meme. It's like, I'm in on the meme, guys. Are you in on the meme? I'm like, yeah, we are in on the meme. We made that meme. Let's see here. We might actually get this
Someone actually
started
asked,
soon here.
Someone actually asked, why do the best casters overwhelmingly play Protoss? And I do have a little bit of an idea about this, if I could, real quick before we wrap up.
Because there is a disproportionate number
yes.
of people that play Protoss.
For the record, I was not a Protoss player, and even when I started casting, I was still a Zerg player in StarCraft 2.
He was a Terran player in Brood War, and then you did a little bit of Zerg in StarCraft 2, and then eventually you switched over to the dark
Protoss
side.
Because of Kadarian Amulet. And also I knew I wouldn't have as much time to practice, so mechanically Zerg, I was like, I don't want to go through that frustration of missing injects and creep spread while being a caster.
Protoss is also like a race where you have to have a lot of different builds, so you kind of have to have a good game sense, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg thing. Because also in Control, in Brood War, he did not play Protoss. He played Zerg.
That's very true.
So it might be... I guess if you're a caster, too, you probably just end up seeing a lot of different builds used, so you kind of get familiarized with them.
Well, I have
you do kind of end up getting your homework done for you whenever you're casting a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have an alternate theory, though. And in StarCraft 1, there was actually there was this documentarian that came out here that we actually spent some time with, and she told us about this study that they did on StarCraft 1 players back in the day.
Oh, yeah. This was like
it had to do with
9 years ago or something. Yeah.
Really long time ago.
I don't think that documentary ever came out.
I don't know. It was supposed to be on PBS, I thought, so maybe. I don't know.
I don't think it ever came out. I don't think they were finished
Maybe. But anyways, the study that we heard about was that Terran players in general were, and this was back in StarCraft 1, and believe me, I found it to be quite true, and we kind of lined up who played what race, but StarCraft 1 Terrans generally were like a little bit more depressive and upset and angry and stuff. Zergs were kind of like out there and a little bit weirder.
Eccentric.
And Protoss were normal people. Those were like...
No, they were above average people. They were amazing people.
But
just to correct that.
That kind of... Like, if you look at the personalities of the people that
play... Well, it could be like what race... What
you're going to find more...
You play a certain race, and then what kind of personality does that draw?
Yeah, like...
Or what kind of personality does that create?
A lot of, I mean, if you look at just the whining of races, don't Terran and Zerg players whine more than Protoss?
Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely do. That's a fact.
That is a fact.
Okay, that is a fact. You go look it up. It's in the dictionary.
In the dictionary?
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this is part of it. That is just like the type of personality you need to be able to commentate.
It could be.
Protoss players have that more? I don't know.
It's a good question, actually. It's an interesting
just
thought.
An idea.
Guys, we got to go finish up our breakfast, and then we got to go start the show. So we're going to wrap it up with this episode of The Bunker. Be sure to not screw up and miss the GSL code S, which will be on in 5 minutes. We'll see you guys next time.
Don't you? I'm losing ground, and in the flashing, my world comes crashing down. I'm left in nowhere, no place to hide. Out in the open, like ashes in the sky. I quit the illusion. I'm moving I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And see when cheers become laughter. You burn the bridges to build the city. I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And see when cheers become laughter. You burn the bridges to build the city.
Jump!
I let the flames light up the future, making empires of sound. And see when cheers become laughter. You burn the bridges to build the city. I let the flames light up the future. It's your money now. I was the truth in the good fight. I'll fight the war if the mood's right. I'm the risk taker. I am the soul shaker. I was your friend. I was your friend. Where was your love? Where are each other? When it was crashing down. Where is your fear? Where is your fear? Where is your money Every time you try to buy a personality, you find a coward with a loaded gun who's bound to go and shoot someone. Money gives you lots of things like golden cars and diamond rings, but turn into a house of cards. When you fall, I wanna be there. Where was your love? Where are each other? When it was crashing down. Where is your fear? Where is your fear? Where is your money now? Where is your money now?
You got to agree with what it said at the bottom of the screen there. Most competitive 1v1 game.
Well,
that's right.
A fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. All right.
Welcome to the GSL Codex, guys. I'm Tasis, joined with Artosis. And this is our Saturday morning broadcast.
Yeah,
replacing your normal dosage of Saturday morning cartoons. But if you're in North America, this is the Friday night cast, right?
Yeah, Friday night for you guys. And if you're in Europe, then you get to feel what the North Americans have felt for the past 6 years.
That's right. So, you had to set your alarm for a weird hour.
Yeah, we have one for NA, one for EU each week now. So that's kind of the new split. It's a really good idea. I like it.
So we got the Saturday cast. Then on Tuesday, we have Tuesday, right? Am I swapping
Wednesday.
ASL? Wednesday, excuse me. That was close. We have the GSL Codex cast. It's more friendly towards the European time zones. We also have the sister tournament to the GSL Codex, the ASL. That is our StarCraft 1 tournament, which is doing very well, surprisingly well, to be honest. That is going to be tomorrow, Sunday, for us. Whatever time that will be, 7 p.m. KST.
6 hours after.
Get on the internet to figure that out. And then we have another ASL on Tuesday.
Yes,
so we got a pretty full week.
Yeah, 4 days a week for most of this month.
That's right.
So that's pretty fantastic. The GSL just starting up. We just had our first group. Yeah. Some upsets, Rogue and Zest both out. Keen and Bunny both advancing to that round of 16.
It's been an interesting Codex so far. It's going to be fun to see how exactly the makeup is going to be when we do get to the round of 16 and then going further into the round of 8, because we a lot of times have it where sometimes it's lopsided with a bunch of races on one side, and then later on all those high number of players that were, with Protoss or Zergatarian, whatever one was more dominant, get filtered out. I don't know, it's good. We also have Legacy of the Void a lot more figured out right now.
Yeah.
It started 2016. It was like
it's getting boiled down a lot quicker now.
It was very ambiguous what was good and what wasn't good. So that was fun to watch them learn, but the meta has definitely hardened a lot more.
Yeah, and even since that new patch, we've had one kind of big patch since then, scaling back some stuff like the Hydralisk, but it's getting into a better and better place. There are some funny things that are still happening, but we'll see, man. It's getting better.
안녕하세요. 테란 고병재입니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 무소속 프로게이머 김준호입니다.
CJ엔투스 연습생이었던 나이트메어 장욱입니다.
안녕하세요. 제네어 팀의 테란 조성주입니다.
달갑지가 않네요. 그냥 한 살 더 먹는 거구나. 그런 생각이 드네요.
2016년 좀 허무한 감이 있는 것 같은데 마음 다잡는 시간을 좀 가지고 나니까 지금 좀 희망찬 것 같아요.
그럼 되게 새롭고 저번 시즌에 좀 못했기 때문에 이번 시즌 좀 잘하고
진출했으니까 좋은 연도인 것 같아요.
요새 타종전이 너무 힘들어서 그나마 좀 괜찮은 테란 한 명? 테란 한 명 정도에다가 2명 토스가 좋을 것 같아요.
토스전 좀 피하고 싶고 그러니까 토스 테란 저그 이 순서대로 저그 테란 토스 이 순서대로 만나고 싶어요.
테란만 없었으면
어렵지 않은 조였으면 좋겠어요. 저그 선수 만나기 좀 껄끄러워요.
하나 남은 국내 리그인 만큼 잘 될 거라고.
좀 긍정적인 부분도 없지 않아 있는 것 같아서 최대한 그런 것 위주로 생각하고 있고요. GSL 많은 리뷰와 열리는 만큼 많은 응원해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다. 이기는 모습은 힘들지 모르지만 최선을 다하는 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
8년 동안 울타리 안에서 좀 성장했다면 이제 밖으로 나와서 이제 새로운 도전을 하게 됐는데 스타판 이곳저곳에서 많이 지원해 주시는 분들이 계시기 때문에 아직 위험하지 않고 선수들도 열심히 하고 관계자분들도 이렇게 열심히 리그 해주시면은 다시 이제 좋아질 날이 멀지 않은 것 같아요. 네, 그러니까 걱정 안 하셨으면 좋겠어요.
2017년 모두 좋은 해 되시고 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
2017년도에 좋은 일만 있었으면 좋겠고 같이 잘 풀렸으면 좋겠어요.
2016년 어떻게 좀 보내셨는지 모르겠지만 2017년에는 원하는 바 모두 이루시길 바라겠고요. 저도 좀 제가 원하는 바 좀 이루어졌으면 좋겠네요.
이번 연도에는 원하시는 거 꼭 다 이루어졌으면 좋겠고 그리고 새해 복 많이 받으세요. 저번 연도 한 해 동안 응원해 주셔서 정말 감사합니다.
Yeah! We're going to go to the interview now with our players. We'll get that translated for you. Our first player is going to be Hiro, interviewed by Gyuri. Two Terrans and two Protoss players are playing today.
프로토스의 선구자 역할을 하고 있는 히어로 김준호 선수부터 만나볼게요.
First,
안녕하세요.
our Protoss player that's leading the way, it's Hiro. Hello.
자,
Hello.
새해 오랜만에 보는 것 같아요.
So it's been a long time, Hiro.
They didn't cap his O. I'm so salty over this.
네. 최근에 온라인 경기로만 팬분들을 찾아뵈서 저도 오프라인 경기가 좀 목말랐었는데 이렇게
I've only been playing online matches recently. I really wanted to play an offline live match. Now I finally got that opportunity. I'm very thankful to be here.
잘 풀어 나갔으면 좋겠고 팬분들
So,
새해 복
since it's the
많이
first offline match of the year, I really want to do well and also Happy New Year, everyone.
오랜만이어서 그런지 마이크도 역시 반대로 잡으셨어요.
Ah, busted. I had to make sure the logo was facing the camera.
Yuri, don't put up with that.
자, 맞아요. 그래도 온라인은 하셨어요. 최근에 바로 그저께였죠.
네, 네.
입장전이 화제가 되고
So 2 days ago, you played a match, an online match
그랬어요.
on GSL TV.
아, 역주협회가 확실히 좀 멘탈에 금이 갔을 것
I really didn't want to talk about this, but you brought it up. How did that go?
멘탈은 그렇게 경기적으로 안 나갔는데 뭔가
네. 너무해요.
보여지는 거에서
네.
제가 처음에 다 이기고 마지막에 다 지니까 내가 다 진 것 같은 거예요.
I lost a few matches at the start, but
괜찮았을 텐데 뭔가 다 진 느낌이라서 기분이 안 좋았고 그리고
in the very end, I did end up losing against Innovation.
그렇군요. 자, 그래서
That just made me sad.
테란이 2명 속한
네네.
조에 대해서 어떻게
You've got two
생각하는지
Terrans in your group. How do you feel about your group?
오늘 있는 투 테란도
네.
가뜩이나 테란전 좀 힘든데
네.
잘하는 테란
I'm having a hard
테란
time
두
against
명이라서
Terran players right now.
좀 힘들
The two
거라고
players I'm playing against
예상했는데
tonight are very strong.
제가 생각하는 최근
It's gonna be a
최고의
difficult road for me
신영이랑
tonight.
11판 연속 스파르타로 연습했기 때문에 네, 오늘
But
괜찮을 것 같아요.
I practiced hard with Innovation.
생각하고 계셨네요.
Obviously, I played 11 straight matches against him, so I think I'm going to do pretty well against him.
첫 상대는 테란은 아니지만
네.
예전 팀 후배입니다. 오늘
네.
이번 코데스가 첫 무대인
네.
이제 신인이자 후배인
So your
장욱
first opponent is
선수인데
going to be someone
어떠세요?
who used to be on your team.
아니 우기가 그렇게 잘 알려져 있진 않은데 저희
네.
팀에서
Yeah,
꽤
Nightmare
오래
is not a
생활했어요.
player
그래가지고
who's a bit of an
얘가
unknown,
푸전 기계가 됐거든요.
but
저희가
he has been on my team previously for a long time. He always helped me practice against good Protoss
역시나
players.
이번 예선에서도 막 남기웅 선수 두
I'm
번
really looking forward to play against him.
이기고 막 올라오더라고요.
네.
그런 점에서 프로토스전 잘한다고 생각을
He defeated a lot of
네.
Protoss players in his qualifiers, so he's obviously very talented in
같이
the matchup
생활해봐가지고
PvP.
우기를 많이 알아가지고
But I know him very well, and I know his playstyle very well, so regardless, I still feel well prepared.
장 선수에게 한마디 하고 시작을 해볼게요.
우기한테요.
네.
Any comments to your opponent?
뭐가 형이 독하게 해도 상처받지 말고 테란전 이기고 2등으로 올라와라.
I hope you don't get too sad if you lose to
알겠습니다.
me tonight. I hope you defeat the Terrans and advance to second
자,
place.
오늘 테란전 이기고 2위로 올라오라고 그 이야기를 들은 코데스의 첫 무대인
Now
신예
to
선수
Nightmare.
바로 만나보도록 하겠습니다.
It's
자,
his first
얼마나
Code S ever.
기뻐하실지 궁금한데 장 선수 안녕하세요.
Hello?
네, 마이크.
Hello?
자, 이번이 첫 코데스입니다. 그 소감 들어볼게요.
So it's your first Code S. How do you feel?
이번에 이렇게 뚫어서 일단 좋고
I was very lucky to advance to Code S.
그냥 좋은 것 같아요.
네, 예전 팀과
I'm just so
굉장히
happy.
좋아하시더라고요.
네.
이게 얼마 만에 거둔 소득인지
처음
How long did it take you to get to Code S?
오랫동안 제가 도전을 했다고
You said, well, it's the first
들었거든요.
time in my career. I tried a lot of times but didn't make it in.
한 3년쯤 된 것 같아요.
정말 기쁘실 것 같아요. 그런데 일단
Just to get reiteration, she asked again. He said it took me about 3 years to get to Code S.
김준호 선수거든요.
네.
단단히 준비해 오셨어요?
So you're playing against Hero in your first match. How did you prepare him?
준비 많이 하긴 했어요.
누구보다 잘 알잖아요.
Well, I practiced a lot.
그렇긴 하죠.
네, 오늘 2위로 올라오라고
So you
하셨잖아요.
know each other very well. Yes, we do.
그래도 1위 한번 욕심내고 싶습니다.
네, 그 팩이 참 마음에 듭니다.
He told me to advance to
자,
second place, but my
그렇다면
goal is
오늘
actually to still
처음으로
advance to first place.
팬분들께 오늘 각오 들어볼게요.
일단
Any final comments to your fans?
처음으로 올라온 만큼 이번
So it's my first time in
삼시간
Codes.
준비 많이 했고
I really want to do well.
좋은
I trained really hard
모습
for the round of
보여줄 수 있도록
32.
하겠습니다.
네,
I'll do my best to
알겠습니다.
perform well
오늘
today.
경기 활약 기대하겠습니다.
감사합니다.
네.
All right,
자,
thank you very
이어서 세 번째
much,
선수
Nightmare.
만나보겠습니다.
We're
해가
looking forward to
갈수록
casting your
플레이도
games.
외모도 더 멋있어지고 있는
Now
선수.
is our next interviewee. It's going to be
얼른
Maru.
앉으세요. 진에어 그린윙스의 조성주 선수 만나보겠습니다.
So
안녕하세요.
our player from Junior Green Wings, it's Maru. Hello, hello.
조성주 선수 잘 지냈어요?
How have you been?
네. 조성주 선수 새해인
Does pretty well.
만큼 새해 인사 들어보고 싶은데 팬들에게 한마디 해주세요.
Any New Year's greetings to the fans?
잘 돼야 돼가지고
네.
같이
아,
잘
지금-
됐으면 좋겠어.
네네.
I hope everything works out well. By the way, his GSL mic is pointed the wrong way,
정말
Artosis.
독특한
God.
This is
사연이네요.
chaos.
Gary's job is way too hard today.
지난
No.
시즌의 16강에서는 아쉽게도 두 명의 프로토스의 발목이 잡혔었어요.
So last season you got knocked out in the round of 16 and you lost to two Protoss players.
현재 분위기는 어때요? 할만한 것 같아요, 요즘은?
How's your performance doing
전보다는 나은 것
recently?
같아요 확실히.
그래요? 오늘 경기
I think I'm doing better than last year.
패전만
Do you think you're gonna
이기면
advance?
올라가지 않을까.
If I win my first match, I think I'll advance.
네, 할만한 것 같더라고요.
그렇군요. 자, 일단 오늘 첫 상대인 공호의
He says
유산에서
he thinks TBT is his best matchup right now.
해본 적 있는 빌드 마스터 고병재 선수와 경기를 합니다.
You're playing against
고병재 선수에게
Gumiho.
한마디 강력하게 해주세요.
Any comments?
강력하게 하기에는 제가 태태전을 좀 못해가지고
네.
걱정이 좀 많은데
승률 높으시던데요?
I'm worried playing against Gumiho, even though I've got a winning record against him.
오랜만에 조성주 선수의 엄살을
He's got a lot of unique
되게
builds.
반가운데요. 마지막으로 각오 들어보겠습니다.
열심히 준비한 만큼 꼭 1등으로 진출하겠습니다.
Since I prepared very hard for today, I want to advance as first place.
고맙습니다.
감사합니다.
네. 자, 마지막 선수입니다. 테란의
Finally,
빌드
to
마스터.
our
오늘
last
가장
player,
일찍
Gumiho.
오신 고병재 선수 바로 만나보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
네,
Hello.
오늘 전라도에서 KTX를 타고 올라오신 고병재 선수예요. 먼저 오늘 소감 들어볼게요.
So, you've come a far way to the GSL. You had to
오랜만에
take the
GSL 에서
KTX train, that's the Korean line train, all the way up here.
잘 됐으면 좋겠어요.
Yeah, I'm honestly nervous and excited to be here. I hope everything works out well for me.
평소에도
She
비슷한
asked, are
시간에
you
일어나서
tired at
별로
all?
피곤하진 않은 것 같아요.
근데 살이 많이
No.
빠지신 것 같아요.
I always wake up early in the morning, so
살이 더
I'm doing
빠졌네요.
okay.
근데 좀 규칙적으로 생활하는 것도 있고 그리고 좀 시켜 먹질 않으니까 집에 있다 보면 아무래도 그래서
네.
좀 살이 많이 빠진 것 같아요.
아,
근데 그렇게 많이 빠지진
He
않았어요.
said I've been losing a lot of weight because I've been
피곤하지만
not eating a lot at night.
자, 오늘
I've been going to
비조
sleep early
어떠세요?
and waking up early.
제 입장에서는 좀 힘든 조가 될 것 같은데 저도 좀 태태전만
He says I think
올라갈
it's
수
a tough
있을 것
group
같다
for me.
이렇게 생각하고 있어요.
And as Maru said, if I just win the first match against him, I think I'll advance.
아 근데
네.
그렇게까지는 아닌데요. 어쨌든
네.
태태전이 좀 더 중요한 것 같아요.
아, 그렇군요. 자, 그러면 오늘 비조 경기에
The
임하는
DBT
각오를
matchup is the most important
들어볼게요.
matchup from tonight.
좀
Any final words, Gumiho?
근데 이거 한번 떨어지면 좀 오래 쉬어야 되는데
네.
If I lose
잘
tonight,
풀렸으면 좋겠고
네.
I'm gonna have to wait a long time to play
네,
on a stage like this
알겠습니다.
again, so I hope I can
오늘도
advance.
마스터다운 활약 기대하고 있겠습니다.
That does it, Tosis.
All right.
자, 이렇게 오늘 비조에 속한 두
There
명의
you have it.
프로토스
Our
요즘
four
That's right.
players that will be
모두
facing off
만나봤는데요.
tonight.
자, 오늘
Everybody hoping to get out in first place.
이렇게 마무리하고요.
Well,
또
I
이제
mean, I guess
시청자
everyone does hope for that,
분들께서
right?
어떻게 나왔는지
Never look at what
저희가
you guys
확인해
predicted.
보겠습니다. 자, 글로벌
And you guys
시청자들의
are always
예상
welcome to
화면으로
participate on this.
만나보고요.
Global fans
자,
first have
가장
predicted
먼저
Hero,
Yeah.
then
김준호
Maru,
선수가
then
승자전에
Hero.
진출할 것이다 예상하고
Wow, a
두 번째
2-0 over
경기에서는
Maru.
조성주
That's odd.
선수가
I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that, Global
I don't know,
fans.
guys. I think the globe might be a little bit off on this one.
승자전에서는
Then Gumiho taking that, and then Maru at the end of 2-1 over Gumiho. Let's see what the Korean predictions are, because I'm not
I've
actually
actually
digging
been
these
confused by this.
predictions.
We have like two different styles of predictions here.
보고 있었습니다. 가장 먼저
Yeah.
진출하는 선수가 이 김준호
Okay, so it looks like Maru and Hero
조성주
are
선수라고
the
예상했는데요.
favorites for the Korean
순위는
prediction.
다르지만 김준호 선수의 진출
But I guess
역시
you get the same
점치고 계셨습니다.
looking results there for the
Yeah.
global if you had to pull it the same way, right?
It looks like they favor Maru a little bit over Hero in the
Yeah.
Korean scene, but I mean that's kind of like the easy prediction to make. Is that your prediction? You think Hero and Maru
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
I
I'm a
absolutely
basic
could see that.
caster.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a basic broadcaster.
Yeah.
I've got my basic baseball hat on.
Yeah.
You know, I play Halo when I'm not playing StarCraft. I'm a basic guy with this. I think the two really good players, the two guys who have had the most results, are probably going to advance.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and that's fair, and like that definitely could occur.
Yeah.
But I could see Gumiho taking out Hero. It is a real thing that could happen. In fact, even Gumiho could take out Marwin and get out in first place. So, like, I really don't think Nightmare is going to be able to get out of here. It's a very tough group for him. It's his first GSL, and these guys are, like, about as veteran-y as you can get.
Well, I mean, Nightmare may surprise us. He is not bad at all. I guess we'll just see. I was saying earlier I thought this might be a good setting for him because our studio is completely empty, and now it's filled up. So
yeah, we have actually quite a nice...
that was unexpected. So I guess the pressure is on for Nightmare, so we'll just have to see, you know... throw him in the fire and see how he does, I guess. 3 years to get to this point. I mean, that's a really big deal for him.
Yeah.
When you train that hard and finally get to that top echelon, the top 32 players in the world, a lot of pressure. People tend to either perform really well and embrace that or completely fall apart.
Here's hoping that he can put out some good games against his former teammate in Hero. Hero is in pretty good shape right now, and as I mentioned, that he did play an 11-game series. It's not a best of 11, but lost it 5-6 against Innovation on Thursday. That's a Korean-only cast, but you can see the VODs on Africa TV.
Yeah, if you want some VODs to study, that's definitely a good place to go.
Yeah, definitely really good games. I got to catch all of those. And Hero, well, that was PvT, but he's playing PvP here. And he's had a little bit of a road bump in PvP as well. Like he was in the same qualifier group as Scarlet, actually, and Seed defeated Hero in their first match.
That's right.
And, I mean, Seed is in pretty good shape right now, but he's not quite the same level as Hero, so that's a little bit of a surprise.
Well, keep in mind also, Nightmare definitely helped Hero practice a lot in all of his builds, so he definitely has Hero's numbers. I think it's really knowledge of one player. That's not to say that Hero doesn't know Nightmare, but I'm assuming that the relationship definitely had somewhat of a power dynamic in the last few years. Of, all right, Nightmare, you get Hero ready. You let Hero test builds out on you and try timings out on you, and you react properly. And then he's going to go into the big leagues and try that out. So Nightmare definitely has some kind of a read on his opponent, but I think it will, as I've said before, just come down to how he actually performs. It's weird, man. It's weird. Imagine that, guys. 3 years, probably in some cases even more than that when you consider how long he probably liked StarCraft as a young boy. Now a young man. To now get to this moment where it's almost like, oh my God, my life culminates to this one moment.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this is his first qualification attempt. Yeah, we have Royal Roaders from time to time.
Yeah.
Will he be one of them? Well, as Taysa said, he is the dark horse here. Like, one of the big dark horses of the tournament. One of the only real rookies in Codes. But, you know, it's just, he's definitely a different level from Hero. Like, the thing is, Nightmare, he's been streaming a lot. He maintains about between rank 50 and 60 on the GM ladder, right around that range, whereas someone like Hero can just be like, okay, here I am, top 10, you know, and like, he's a player that's won multiple championships. So if Nightmare can take him down, I mean, that is a kid that is playing good under pressure. That is a kid that is really finding his stride right now.
We're moments away from getting game number 1 started. Our map is going to be on Echo. With these two players knowing each other so well, it's going to be a moment where you have to think, what mind games are going on that we don't even get to see, right? I mean, whenever you have two people that have trained together for years like this, there's going to be all sorts of weird stuff they might be trying to do to throw each other off. It could be some funny-looking games. Anyways, guys, tell your friends to join us. A lot of people don't know that we're doing this Saturday afternoon cast. We moved the schedule around to fit North American time a little bit better. GSL Codes.
Great one.
Yeah, that's not my best outro. In the bottom right, in the blue. Hero. So they had Artosis and I record the voices.
Yes, that's right. These are Archon voices.
These are our Archon voices. They merge them together.
All right, let's listen to this one.
All right, this one I'm worried about. In the upper left in the red.
Nightmare.
Oh, it was okay.
It was fine.
It was fine.
As long as they have at least 2 syllables, they can be okay.
Yeah. Wait until dark comes. We're like, dark. Doesn't sound good at all. Live.
Okay, this is already a little bit interesting here. Making a wall in down that ramp is Hero. Huh. Not something you see in PvP ever. It's like he's playing against a Zerg right now with that wall.
Yeah, that's funny. I wonder what he has in store for us with this strat specifically. I mean, there's not... Just wondering what the rationale is for that, you know, to have it down there like that. Looks like he's going to get the core right over here.
Okay, he's doing a full wall in, so that allows him to be a little bit more greedy. Like, he can do things like a fast expansion plus a Stargate. Adepts are not going to be an issue. They're not going to be able to get into his base. Maybe in their practice, he knows that Nightmare has really preferred things like Adepts. But whatever it is, like, this overall Echo is a map where you really can hold on to that natural pretty easily because the ramp is like 2 force fields wide, but with that wall, it's even easier.
Okay, so the probe here from Nightmare is coming up. Looks like he's going to be able to peek up here. He will see the wall in and immediately identify, okay, an Adept's going to be pressured out here. So we can put pressure on here. The counterattack's not as easy to do. There is, of course, the obvious fact that you can have your building set on the outside if there's nothing there to defend it. The Adept is locked out on the map, at least for the foreseeable future.
Now,
Nightmare. It's a good picture.
Yeah, that's pretty well done. I like his mouth.
Yeah, his mouth, definitely. That's Nightmare's mouth.
He's part rabbit.
Yeah.
But look, I really like this play by Nightmare. When you scout a 1-gate full wall in, this normally points towards Stargate, and Stargate is very good on Echo anyways. There's like a lot of weird, like, high groundish things where you can't see flying units until the moment they hit your mineral line.
You can be super abusive with air here.
Yeah, and like even if you go for like Phoenixes, let's say, it's very strong here because the ramp is so small that you can really fudge a lot of attacks. So Nightmare is actually going directly into Twilight, and this could be Blink or this could be DTs, both of which can be quite strong against Stargate openers.
So that Oracle, about 10% complete now. Looks like the Adept is going to be chased around. He's going to have to try to shade out again. No expansion yet for Nightmare. Nightmare, at least for the time being, staying on one base. More Stalkers still coming out. Also, it looks like those Stalkers checking for a possible proxy pylon. And we're going to have a DT rush. Now, this can go in a lot of different directions, okay? Because we have the Stargate build, the Oracle's out, but we don't know if the Oracle will go over there, kill all the probes, and then have no energy to stop the DT.
And even if it has some energy, it probably won't have enough for more than one detect, right? One revelation. And that means that if you spread your DTs out with the new way that this works in Legacy of the Void, it is not as solid a detector as it was in Heart of the Swarm. So, like, this is, I like it. This is a really good choice. And see that? He's actually chrono boosting Blink when the Adept gets up there. So what that looks like to Hero is this could just be a counter to the Stargate play that he's expecting.
Okay, here comes that Oracle now. He triggers the pylon. Some Stalkers here to intercept. Okay, Hero not in great shape here with a bruised Oracle. If he overextends one more time, there's a high probability he'll end up losing this.
Yeah, that was a great move, though, with the Oracle. He flew right in, and he saw that Blink had been canceled. There was no chrono boost. That screams DTs. That advertises DTs completely. So he started a robo, and I mean that his observer's going to be out in time. This is looking very nice right now for Hero.
The DT now warping in, 2 of them actually. Going to come up here and start trying to take down the pylon wall. He does have the sentries there, but as you were saying, Artosis, I mean, he should be able to get an observer out no problem. He'll probably have to send these DTs back and try to counter running into a main later on, and I think...
that was off. Missed those force fields a little bit, and the DTs get out. He will end up killing one off. The other one might be able to get away. All right, I guess he has enough energy left to kill it.
Yeah,
so
takes that out. So 2 DTs down. That's not good. So normally, guys, when you get the DTs out, if you can't get in, you need to use them in like a pin maneuver, where if they leave their base, you run inside and start killing stuff. You can't really afford, especially with just how much it costs to tech up to DTs, you can't afford to ever really run them up and lose them. Even if you get like 1 or 2 probes and they die, it's